Welcome everybody to another episode of the Future of BizTech. I am your host, JC Granger, and I have with me here the CEO of National Technology Management, Kelly Siegel. Kelly, thank you so much for being on the show. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what is it that NTM does?
It's an honor to be on. Thanks for squeezing me in your busy schedule, JC. And we are we we're a managed service provider, basically the IT guys, but IT cybersecurity, and very simple and easy. What we do is we make IT easy. Literally, we have built a pizza box setup where you can go online and order it like pizza because we feel that it shouldn't be hard like most of my competition, which are all my friends. Do and I just want to make this world easier. We really are. When I was younger, we used to say good, cheap, and fast pick two. We literally
Mhm.
are all three. And I hate saying I'm cheap, but we're very cost
Well, I mean, I
effective. So
imagine you get to the not cheap, but like lower cost or efficient costs because you can. Like, how do you do this easier? I mean, so we talked a little pre-show, but the audience obviously didn't have that uh, with them. So, what is it that makes what you guys do easier or faster and cheaper?
that's a great question. The secret sauce behind us is me and my team. And I say that tongue in cheek. I am an end user. I'm not a technology guy. I'm not an IT guy. I just want things to work. There is an old company called BASF, and it was we don't make the things that you use every day. We make them better. That's literally my philosophy. I get sick and tired of turning on a computer and waiting for it to do its updates. Or you can't bold in Word. It can't connect to the Wi-Fi. You can't print. Those are all things that keep you from doing your day-to-day business. And I said, let's just build a system that really is proactive, that heavily leverages automation, which is what we called it before AI, and we get things done faster, and it's easier to sell the proof than the promise. And our numbers, we publish our numbers. We're less than 2.5 hours to get all of our tickets done. So you call us, our average is 2.5 hours. So that means we're getting some done in 0 and some done in 5. The industry average is 8 hours. We're at 2.5. We haven't even turned on all our automation yet. So we just believe that we want to be the easiest and simplest IT company to do business with. We want to have fun, keep it simple, and roll. And
So how?
most people don't even know what cybersecurity is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ransomware, what's it? All I know is that I got to be afraid of it. Well, you don't have to be afraid of it, and you don't have to be a techie. Just go to rapid.trustntm.com and we'll walk you through everything.
Well, so you bring that up, and so something we talked about, me and you privately before, was that the onboarding process for cybersecurity and IT services and whatnot is very manual. Like there's meetings, you're talking to people, and it can take a little bit to really get the scope, which seems like best practices because that's just kind of how it goes. So walk me through how you guys are different. If as a user, if I say, okay, I want to bring on this new IT company. We want to make sure that we've got everything buttoned up. We got this new round of funding and we can't risk anything going wrong, things like that. And I've got 10 IT companies and they're all saying, okay, well, let's get on the phone, let's get through there, let's analyze it. And that makes sense to me. Of
Mhm.
course, like a doctor's going to give he's going to take your blood samples and stuff before he says, oh, this is what you have. But how is yours different? And how much
Oh,
faster is that?
I get so excited that I skip all the details and think everybody's with me. I don't know why I do that. So thank you for keeping me honest. That's a great question. And here, prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. So you're right. What we did is over several years, we've been in business. This is our 28th year in business. And what we did over the last several years is analyze all of our customers and anybody who's ever been a customer. And we took the 80% rule, the 80/20 rule, the Pareto principle, and we said there was a commonality between 80% of our customers. Truthfully, it was about 90%. And we took that blueprint and said, let's build a system for that 90%. There is still the 10% that have some tricky one-offs, but now with AI, we're able to program any one-offs and do integrations because really it was always just integrations. This didn't work with that. Well, everybody built the SaaS model and they built technology with open APIs. So we have a whole arm of people for innovation, and they say let's do it. So we took the 80%, built a solution for them, and that's what we put on the web. So 80% of the people, really, it's 90%.
So,
It's
like they can
plug and
just set
play.
themselves up kind of thing. Like, I mean, how
Yeah,
much? Yeah.
yeah. There's three things. We have good, better, best, and it's essentials. We have IT essentials, and that's just people that don't have anything but know they need protection. They know they need support. So it's the essentials. Just gets you over the hump. Then we have safe secure, which is very simple. If you go to Chat GPT or you go to Google and you say, "What's the insurance company standard for cybersecurity?" That's what our safe secure is. And then there's the people that are governed and they're being audited and they need our safe secure plus. And so far, we've been able to cover 100% of customers all across the country with these three options. If somebody needs some mixes and matches, we can move some pieces around and do some a la carte. And then we throw a modest per location fee on and we give them all new gear and we refresh it every 3 years because every single one of these points are points of entry for the threat actor. So we just keep it
Mhm.
simple and keep it affordable. And I will tell you, we have not seen a single company, A, touch our service metrics, or B, be apples to apples in the pricing. And the reason why we're able to do it is because we do such high volume. I'm able to negotiate discounts because we're constantly buying more and more and more of the software. And believe me, this is not anything that we home grew. These are big names. We don't say the names if they ask me, we tell them, but we keep them uh, enabled to pull them out and put in new ones in case a vendor gets attacked or inevitably hits a downturn. Like,
Yeah.
I'll pick on Sentinel One. I mean, they kind of took a little bit of a hit. CrowdStrike took a hit.
Yeah.
So
CrowdStrike took a big one. Yeah.
so we leave it ubiquitous open enough to be able to mix and match things, but they're all industry standard. If I say who they are right now, everybody knows their name.
What I like about what you had told me about how your system works was just how fast people can get onboarded with it, right? That kind of do it yourself almost, right? Like click, click, and then you can basically be installed into a network, um, you know, very, very fast, within a day or something like that, whatever that
But
timeline
JC,
was. I remember,
understand that everybody tries to put something that one size fits all for everybody, and then there's no support. If
Mhm.
you do our download and you have any trouble, an AI agent will come up and say, "Listen, click this button, and we will be connected to a human who will
Yeah,
walk you through this, or do it for you."
yeah.
This is always we want support, and this
Yeah,
isn't you're
but
not
you're built for
calling India.
speed.
It's all here in the
Yeah.
United States. We keep it simple, and we're going to service the heck out of you. For the once in a lifetime, we get what you pay for and then some. It is a white glove service all the way down to if you need computers, we've automated all of that. So it's just simple, it's easy. If you're starting a new company, this is what you want because you're
Yeah.
not going to be talking to
So this is good
15
for
different
good for
people.
startups then.
They're not, it's great for
Yeah.
startups because it's a one sign, away you go. And I'm trying to get it to where there's no contracts. That's our next feat. And that's really going to disrupt
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
Where we have that on our low platform, but the second and third tier, we have to have contracts but eventually I'm going to get to the point where we're really going to disrupt the industry.
It sounds like you're built for speed, but you do have human checks and balances to it to ensure quality, which is good. Let's pivot a little bit here because something we talked about like right before we came on here. Obviously right now as of this recording, which is June 19th, Thursday of 2025, right? Just to date it, just to make sure. Um, Iran and Israel are in a really big conflict right now. And something that you brought up was, everybody's talking about the missiles flying overhead and all the bombings. And you brought up that you were worried about the cybersecurity aspect of it. Walk me through the what healthy fear do you have about the situation that they're in, and then how it might affect us from a cybersecurity issue?
Well, first of all, fear, I don't run around with fear. I do a lot of personal development work on myself. So I believe in faith. Their faith and fear believe in the future, and I'd rather believe in a positive future. So I have faith that everything's going to be okay. But there's definitely in our lifetime, we are going to face some sort of either global or at least national cyber attack. I'm old enough to remember the blackout that took out the East Coast. I don't know where you were. I think it was 19 years ago. I think it was 2003. And literally, just all of a sudden, we lost power and it was out for 3 days.
I
So
remember that.
immediately, you couldn't get money, you couldn't, your food, you couldn't get, everything was just shut down. People were out in the streets. What was great about it was the camaraderie. But since that day, I started re-carrying cash again because I didn't have any money on me. I had $20 in my pocket. So imagine I took a phone break of 11 days at the end of last year. It is so weird how much stuff you're tied to your phone, my Netflix account, my gym member, everything. So imagine not being able to get anything electronic, and that's coming. It will. So, you know, all I can tell people is make sure you have some cash. I'm not going to tell you pack water and non-perishable foods and guns. It's not going to
Yeah.
be that bad. But
Yeah.
there's going to be a day where we're not going to have cell service. There might not be internet service. And that's people are so reliant on that. Go, you look behind me. I have books everywhere. I read. That's like a heaven for me. Take away the internet. Take away
Yeah.
the phones. I'm
Go
good.
camping.
I will love it. I love so the things in it that I love is stillness, silence, and solitude. That's where everything in the world can be found. Happiness, the next step, all these things. But all too often, we've got to have music playing in our ear. We got to be busy doing something, or we will be alone with our own, as you said, fears. And I
Mhm.
just don't subscribe to that. But there's definitely going to be something because Iran, let's mince words. I'm not trying to be mean, but tried this in 1991, and that war took what, an hour?
Yeah.
If we want to go to Iran, won't be anything, and I hope that's not the case because I believe in diplomacy on always. War should be the last answer, but it's already launched. It's sad, but the way they're going to get to the United States is going to be some sort of cyber attack, and they've tried a couple of
So
times
then
already.
let's dive more to that. It's not the fear side of it as much as what are the practical implications of what a country like Iran or North Korea or China or Russia are actually capable of? How vulnerable do you think the US is with how reliant we are, A, on modern technology in our pockets, and B, outdated technology in our infrastructure?
Well, think about this, and I don't want to scare you guys, but you know that our TSA, the air traffic control systems are still on Windows 95.
Yeah.
So that's been retired since they end of life that in 2001. So we're 23 years ago. And by the way, if you're wondering why there's so much air traffic control problems, there's your answer.
Well, they keep
So
defunding it. It's always been in every bill for funding, and then when they need something else, they pull that money and give it to someone or something else or whatever they want
uh,
politically.
it's
Like it's been on the books to be refunded every single time, and every single time it gets yanked away, which I
well, they're
hope
silly.
now
They
they
should
won't.
they should make the airlines pay for that. I mean, Delta made $20 billion
It would
last
probably
year.
do better if they privatized it in that sense, right? But that is tricky because they all use the same people. And even then,
Little
like the technology is terrible, but the biggest problem is the humans, how long it takes. I have friends that are an ATC, and the amount of training it takes to even be qualified is years. So even if we fix the technology today, we couldn't fix the overall problem for another decade.
JC, how old are you?
I'm 43.
Okay, so you're my age. You remember, you may not remember, you were a little kid, but you want to know why we're in this position? Reagan fired all the air traffic
That's right. Yeah,
controllers
from the strike.
in
They had that big strike.
1981 or 82.
Yeah. He wiped it
He just,
clean.
he just wiped it clean and went, I don't believe we've ever recovered from that.
No, we haven't. Yeah,
And,
so I guess big
but
thumbs up to that. Thanks, Reagan.
yeah, you know what? And he goes down as people argue that he might be the greatest president of all time, but that was probably a mistake. But you know, let's pull it out of the things and just realize that it's getting a little freaky out there, and we've never been so much divisiveness, and together we rise. We are the United States of America, not the divided states of America.
For
And when you
now.
go to California or New York, it gets a little weird. And even here in Michigan right now, I'm in Michigan. I have a house in Florida. I get to Florida, it's like its own country.
Yeah.
And but you know what? All we can do is bring our part to this, which is work on your emotional intelligence and realize that the algorithm is trying to feed you the same thing to keep you on your scrolling, and that don't believe everything you read. And I have a funny story to say is I believe nothing of what I hear and only half of what I see.
Yeah, and with AI now, honestly, that half of what
Right?
you see is gonna have to go lower and lower and lower because seeing won't be believing anymore because it's insane where that's going. But that's its own thing. I'm gonna circle back to something else. I want to know about the origins of your company. Like, what did you buy from someone? Did you start it yourself? Did you come in later as some CEO? What brought you to this? Why are you the CEO of this company? Like, what was your passion here? What's that
And
origin story?
I have not really told that story. I wrote my first book, Harder Than Life, all about how I've taken the company to multi-millions of dollars, but I never really said how. I did a little bit. So I used to own this company. I started this company called Kelly Communications, and I was a telecom consulting agency, and I built that to seven figures. Excuse me. And then I was sitting in on my boat in the lake, and I was sitting there on a Friday relaxing, and I did my own SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And I said, the integrator, the phone vendor slash IT guy is going to replace me. So I went out and bought an IT company, and then I went and partnered with a phone vendor.
Hmm.
And after doing all that, I actually blended them all way before it was cool to blend. There were still phone companies and there were still IT companies, and they were separate. Now it's all one. I could see the VoIP thing coming before
Yeah.
it happened. And so that was in 1999 or 2000. So you remember Y2K going on. So
Yeah.
I started my company, Kelly Communications. I think it was 2000, and I then ended up partnering with a phone company in, I want to say, 2006, and they were started in 1997. I ended up buying that guy out, and we've been in business since 1997. So we went through all of the growing pains and all of the integration pains before. I wish I would have waited, because now with SaaS and AI and ChatGPT and all, we're able to do things in weekends that would take us years. It's
Wow.
wild. We wrote a voice AI bot a month ago to replace our call or our answering service, and we did it over a weekend. And
Yeah, the answering services are going to have a real rough go
oh, they're
of it here the next couple of years. Like it's
marketing companies,
yeah,
video companies. There's I had a Microsoft exec on my podcast, Harder Than Life podcast, and she said was astounding. She said 300 million jobs are gonna be gone by 2030. Dude, that's 5 years from now.
yeah.
300 million. I go, how many jobs are there?
Well, I
you
mean,
know?
worldwide. I mean, but even here, just U.S. based. I was telling my friends, they're like, hey, they're like, hey, everything is fine. Like people are still employed. I'm like, I don't think you understand. You're looking over the edge of the cliff right now, and like it's eroding. Like that. Like watch your step because you might not have earth under your feet in a second when it comes to your own job. Because I don't think most people are appreciating the exponential. You say the word exponential and someone can define it, but they can't actually comprehend it. It's like saying infinity. It's like, yeah, you can say it, but you don't really understand how big that is. And so when people say exponential, it's like I don't think you get how when it keeps going, what happens. And don't get me wrong, I think we're going to settle out. But I tell people, I say America is one of the most resilient countries on the planet. But it is a big machine, and any big machine, you can make a lot of changes, you just can't make them fast. If the faster you make the change, then you break it. Period. I don't care how good the machine is. If you make all like if I said, "Hey, we're going to lose 20 million jobs in America," you go, "Oh my God!" And I said, "Oh, but it's going to take 100 years." You're like, "Oh, we could probably handle that, right? We could
Yeah.
probably like reshape that." But if I said it's tomorrow, we're done. That's it. We're cooked.
Well, hold
you
on.
know?
Let's add context to that a little more, because 300 million jobs will go away. We'll probably create 500 million jobs. So
Uh,
remember back in
that's
the,
a roll of
so
the dice.
I did these cool things where I walked in when the internet started getting savvy and started getting affordable, because I'm that old. I sold T1 connections that were $2,000. T1's, for people to understand, is 1.54. That would be slower than molasses now. Now everybody's got 1,000 megabytes to their house for $100.
For nothing. Yeah.
So we used to businesses used to do 1.54. So I've sold companies their very first internet connection. And where I was going with this, I completely brain farted, but oh, I know what it was. So we would go to parking structures, and we were able to run internet and do these where you see now at every freaking airport where you use a credit card. And we did this 20 years ago. So yes, we put parking attendants out of business, but where did they go? They went to McDonald's. They got trades. They work for me. They do help desk. They go to other jobs. And then
I
guess
think
what else? Once the internet started, we have web developers, we have AI masters, you have social media experts. Those jobs never existed 20
yeah.
years ago.
I don't think you're necessarily help with this. We're both going to find out whether you're right or wrong here soon enough, right? But let's say you're right. Let's say I agree with you, and I say, okay, we trade 300 million jobs for 500 million. Okay, the number itself is not the problem. Again, it's the speed. See, the thing is that those jobs you're talking about didn't happen within 2 months of losing the first job, and most Americans only have about 2 months worth of savings for before they're out. Like they're just hand to mouth. That's most people, right? And so when you have a situation where the jobs go away way faster than they can be replaced, what do those people do in the meantime? And the answer is almost nothing, it turns out. And that is where the system collapses. It's not that it couldn't that we won't eventually make more jobs out of it. The question is, what do we do in the meantime when the job is gone, literally in those days, weeks, and months and years before those new opportunities, the web developer, kind of job comes out of the internet kind of thing, right? So I don't disagree with you. I think the timeline is what I'm more concerned about because we've never dealt with anything, again, exponential, which means that it's so fast that I don't, legislation is slow, right? Change is slow, but disruption is fast.
Well,
Disruption
taking a
is
step
fast.
further, you're dabbling on the real issue.
Yeah.
Human minds do not like change. So
Yeah.
even if you're all for this,
Yeah.
your now expectations are you have to do 10 times the amount of work in half the amount of time. That's what happens with AI because a presentation that took you a day to do takes you 5 minutes. So you no longer can do the work at the workload you used to do. Now you're expected to do 10 times the amount of work and have to. And there is 80% of the world likes to pick things up and put them down. They want to do their 8 and skate. That's the bigger issue. That's why I started off this podcast with it's the 6 inches between your ear. It's our mindset. We have got to get better, more comfortable being uncomfortable, especially with change, because it's going to happen every year. Speed of everything's going to double, triple,
And it's going
quadruple.
faster. Yeah, just like
So
you're saying.
that's the bigger issue.
Yeah.
And you're right about the infrastructure because there's certain people, we all know them, that are the victims. They're going to be in trouble. And I mean welfare trouble, meaning you ain't going to
But
get
I
a
think at
job.
this speed, I think even people who are not victim mindsets are also going to be in trouble.
Yes. Yeah,
And
there's going to
that's my
be
problem about the speed. The speed factor is where it separates the people who always just think it's everyone's fault with the people who actually are busting their ass and there's just nowhere to go. And that's where my concern is. But listen, we're all going to find out eventually how this plays out. But I hope and I have faith that we will figure it out. My concern is the people caught in the crossfire in the interim that that are really the hard workers who want to do something, but they just literally have no options that they can think of that would survive. So, but I mean, but let's
well,
talk about
nowadays you just do Uber, you do freaking Lyft, and
yeah, but they're
you
gonna
deliver. I was
automate
just
that.
talking to
You got Waymo.
I was
You
literally
got they're gonna
I was
Waymo's and you got automated taxis. It's gonna take out all the Uber jobs because why would Uber pay 80% of their fee to a human when they can just invest in and pay a licensing fee to these automated taxis? And again, is that good for progress for technology? Sure, but again, that's a lot of people now without another option. What do they do? And so it's just this. It's just
But you said you're buying time.
rambling.
So to buy
Yeah.
time, we're still a couple years away from that. Like
Yes.
I have a brand new car, and it has the crash detection system, and it has the auto drive,
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
it's still like somebody came up real fast on a side street and it jammed on their brakes. We're still a little bit away, but not years, probably
I don't
or
know, but hey,
not
we're both the
decades.
same age. We're both the same age, and I think you can agree that you blink and a year is gone. I know because
Uh,
I have a daughter, and when I blink, she's another year old. I was like, how the
no,
hell?
no, 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 no. I'm older than you, brother. I'm 49, and I remember being 43 because that's when I started making the massive change. That's when I feel like I first started living. That's when I
Yeah.
made the decision to just re-examine every part of my life. That's when I wrote my book, Harder Than Life. I just wrote a new one, Happier Than Life, where everyone coming out healthier than life. And I just was looking at myself at 43 and said, am I fulfilled? Am I being all I can be? Am I who I want to be? And the answer was no. So I
Mhm.
said, let's reinvent myself. I reinvented the company. I implemented EOS. I reinvented my who I was as a person. I started stripping everything down. I took away a bunch of things that were normal in my life and said, I'm going to do it. So if I can do it, a poor old kid from 8 Mile in Warren, Michigan, that went to high school with Eminem, if I could do it, everybody can do it.
I believe you. I believe you because by the way, I want to talk about your books here in a little bit. But first, what I want to go to is this. I like to talk about the struggles of a company because I think it's good for listeners to. Social media can have a way of making everyone believe that everyone else but themselves is doing really well. So, you obviously, you guys are doing well, but what are some of the struggles you had early on in the company? And then what are some things that you're struggling with now that you guys are trying to punch through?
So when you say early on, again, we're 27 years old and I've been there for 25 of them.
Just like what kind of
So
comes to mind is like when you were hitting a wall or you thought, was there
oh,
a time where you thought that you might not make it? Like, oh crap, this could go to
yeah.
hell. What do I do? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious, like any of that kind of early on struggles that you got through, and then fast forwarding to now, what are some of the things that are a struggle, but you're like, yeah, but here's our plan and here's how we're,
Yeah.
attacking it.
So so I'm a business coach, but I start with the mindset first. So I go mindset with the entrepreneur, we go to fitness, and then we do business processes. And I do that way intentionally because it's usually the 6 inches between our owner's ears that's the problem. It always is. We've been doing things that have been counterintuitive. That's what I broke down at 43. And then I said, I'm working on my mind. I'm working on my body. Now let's declare war on the business. If you do it the other way, it's kind of backwards. And then the owner sabotages it because they either drink too much or they cheat on their wives or whatever happens, whatever because they haven't
Whatever
fixed it.
self-destructive
So
path.
you
Yeah,
come into these plateaus, the 1 million, the 3 million, the 5 million, and the 10 million. Those are the ceilings that most of our listeners are going to run into, and they are real. I have studied this forever. The $3 million mark was a tough one to transition through because you can organically grow through grit to 3 million, but
sure.
to scale, you have got
Mhm.
to implement standard operating procedures. You have got to have culture. You have got to have rules and regulations and standards and ways of doing business, or else you cannot scale beyond that 3 million. But the 1 million was fun too, because as you hit that, you're thinking, holy cow, I just wanted to have a lifestyle business here.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you look around, it's me. I think I had at that time one employee. And when you see $1 million on their tax, you're like, oh,
Wow.
I'm on to something here. And
Yeah.
it's very funny. You asked me what was hard, but I'll tell you what's the same. We over serviced our customers back in 2005. And here we are in 2025, over servicing our customers. We always give them more than they ever ask for. So we hit the 1 million, the 3 million, and the 5 million, and we're going to hit the 10 million. And it is funner than fun. We do believe with AI, though, that we're going to blaze through that 10 million pretty fast because
Mhm.
of this new automation. And, we're going to, as you know, I said marketing companies are going to struggle. The marketing companies that haven't adapted like yours, how you
Mhm.
guys have automated so many things. So you look for people that are like-minded, you partner with them. It's the easiest thing in the world. Go find the person that's doing what you want to do and
Yeah.
learn from them or partner with them. It's what I'm doing
Yeah.
with you. It's how we met. And I believe that there are no coincidences. I've talked to you about 1,000 times. I didn't know who you were and somehow you reached
Wait,
out
you
to
didn't
me.
know who I was? Come on, I'm a big deal. Come on, Kelly, are you kidding me? Where have you been under
But
a rock?
you know what? I don't watch much TV and I don't consume much content. I read like a crazy man. I
Yeah,
work out like an even more insane man.
you are a
And
rock. Look at you, boy.
you know what? I'm in the process of doing 500 workouts to honor my 50 year. I want to be in the best shape
Oh, it's
physically
amazing.
and mentally I've ever been. Today's workout, I'm going to leave here after this, do 268. And I believe today's the 170th day of the year.
Yeah,
So I'm on great pace and we're going to shatter that and we're going to grow like mad and just keep reinventing ourselves. And that's what we go back to what people can do to make sure that they're still relevant is stop being formulaic, be communicative, be creative, and add value. And you
yeah.
will always have a job.
That's true. Something you said about over servicing, that's kind of how we pivoted, right? Like, for any listeners who don't know, like I have a marketing agency, that's my day job. This is my fun part that I get to do is the podcast with great guests like Kelly. But, said over servicing, I think when AI comes in, if you're trying to survive AI, I think one of the ways to do it is to over service, right? Is to dive deeper in. If you have like, one thing you offer, like try to find five or six more things and really try to help that company solve the whole problem instead of a piece of it. See, there was a time I've been in digital marketing 25 years. I've had my agency for 14. There are times where we offered just one thing to one group of people, and that was great. They liked that and it worked. We don't live in that time anymore. With AI taking slices out and taking specific verticals where that one thing can just be replaced, where the real value for any kind of clients when it comes to marketing is, can you solve my whole problem so I don't have to worry about anything
Right.
anymore? That is the overservicing, like with what you guys do, right? And I think that's how you separate yourself from an
But
industry
wait,
that is flooded with a lot of people
do
doing
you
it.
remember when we were younger, they'd say, I don't want to be all things to all people. I don't want one throat to choke. But
Yeah.
now you do because services got so bad. It's
And,
like,
and that's
I
the thing.
don't
Yeah.
want to deal with. So the one other thing I'd say is communicate, and over freaking communicate. So we
Yeah.
launched that AI bot and we sent out videos and we sent out text messages and phone calls. And what do you know? People still called, What's with this video or this AI bot we got to talk to? And I had to be on the phone with people and go, hey,
Yeah.
Delta, how you call and you deal with their AI? Would you like one of our charming guys to say, I'm not sure what it is? Or would you like the AI bot to know exactly what it is? And they
Yeah.
go, well, we'd like to get our stuff answered quicker. And,
Yeah.
and the funny thing is now no more questions about it. And
Yeah.
that was that
Well, like you
it's
said,
been out
people
for
they don't
three
like change.
months.
People don't like change, right? So sometimes they got to be pulled into change and then they go, "Oh, okay, now I get it," right? But yeah, I mean, on their own, listen, I mean, we're no different. There's things that me and you aren't even thinking about right now that we just like the way we do it. And if someone said, "No, no, this is better," we're like, I don't care because I like this." So we're not different, but we
Well, you
do
know
have
why
to,
that
we
is,
do,
right?
yeah,
That's because your brain, your reticular activating system is wired to not use
yeah,
as much energy to think about what it has to
yeah.
do.
It's
So
it's burnt calories. It's burnt
it's in
calories,
A to
right?
Z as fast as possible. That's why we
Yeah.
don't like change. That's it. Without burning anything. Because like I'm so hardwired in my brain. What the second I wake up, I'm already putting my clothes on to go to the gym. I don't even because I've been doing it for so long.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like the days that I decide I am going to take off, which hasn't been this year at all, I'm like I feel weird. But
Hmm.
those are good habits to have. But a lot of people, the first thing they do is grab their phone. Don't do that. Or turn on the TV. Don't do that. So,
That'll suck you in real fast. Yeah.
oh man, I just gave a speech out in Palm Springs, and it was to a older crowd, and the lady's like, I get up and my days, I'm unhappy. And I said, what's the first thing you do in the morning? She's like, I turn on the TV. I go, I just stopped. I put my hands up. I go, really? I go, let me guess. You put on the news. And she's like,
Yep.
yes. I'm going,
All the depressing
stop
shit.
doing that. She was a widower. And I said, she's like, I'm just sad. And I said, all right, I want you to go for walks, take your shoes off, walk in the grass and talk to your husband. And she started crying. The whole room started crying. I'm like, I didn't mean to do that. I go, but just go have a conversation with him. He's watching that over you. That's what I mean by being mindful. Guys,
Mhm.
this stuff, we're all energy. This stuff is real. If you don't believe that everything's happening for you, look back on your life. I have been
Yeah.
shot at. I have been run over. I have been beat. I've been stopped. And yet I'm still here. I am meant to be here. And so is each and every one of you. Just get out of your own way.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question here. Talking about the industry and the technology that you're using, it says future of biz tech behind me, so we got to talk about the future a little bit here. Two-part question. One is, where do you see your company? Like, if we had this podcast again in 12 months, where do you see, like, what new things would you guys have launched or done, hopefully, or grown to size? And then, secondly, where do you see the industry that you're in a couple years going, just based on the technology and how fast it's all moving?
Hmm. Wow. I'll give you the conservative one and I'll give you the radical one. And I think I lean more towards the radical one. I think that our industry is going to get swallowed up by Microsoft. I think you're already seeing the IT and the Office 365 offer updates, offer patching,
Mhm.
offer the Azure Active Directory, offer all of your storage, and that doesn't sit well with me because Microsoft already controls the world.
Mhm.
So I could see a lot of us getting swallowed up by Microsoft, but they seem to be so big that to do anything with them, you have to have a third party. So there's going to be some people that are third parties. The bad part about my industry is there's a bunch of 55-year-old or 50 plus year old something that haven't prepared for this day, and they're in
Mhm.
debt and they're drowning and they're out there trying everything. Their ego is speaking. And instead of coming to someone who has got a plan, who is safe harbor, they're out there undercutting everybody. And when you undercut people, you pollute the entire industry because
Mhm.
not only do you lose and your customer loses massively because you can't give them the service that they need, especially the not even the service, it's the protection that they need nowadays. I
Mhm.
look at so many. I just talked to two massive brands in the last 2 days, and I ran a Microsoft scan, and there were threat actors in their email. One of them you would know, and it's a massive CEO, and it was the CEO's mailbox that was compromised,
Wow.
and they had no clue. $100 million company. CEO's emails are being forwarded to Thailand and being reviewed by threat actors and how they can fricking get them. And it's been doing it for a year
Wow.
and people don't realize it. It's so the threat is real, and we've got to be very serious about it. So where do I see this? I see real time fixes happening because as long as we have humans, there's going to be errors, and as long as we're still having computers, there's going to be errors. So, but I see the consolidation of your company and mine. I see
Mhm.
marketing going into tech. You saw phones already go into computers, which we
Yeah.
saw a long time ago. I see the tech companies adding a lot of different things to their portfolio. Like you said, having 5, 6 different offerings. Because who do you trust the most? Your tech guy.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
create,
and and
creating
and,
a
and it only
helpful
makes sense that
ecosystem.
the marketing company is part of tech because who blocks all your marketing efforts? IT.
Yeah.
It's always oh I didn't enable DMARC DKIM so my newsletter didn't go out. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. The cold outbound emails don't work unless you know the technical side of it.
So I see a lot of consolidation. I also see a lot of people going on by the wayside. So if there's any MSP out there that is in trouble or you want to retire, reach out to me. We
Yeah.
are offering safe haven for you CEOs. I'm not a private equity firm. I will not rape you. We will give you an offer to bring you in and protect your name and keep you going and get you into your dream. There's a
That's
lot of
great.
people
Yeah.
reaching out to me for
Yeah.
that, and I can't take everybody. They got to understand that we bring them and ingest them into our system, and it's got to be some sort of a match.
Yeah.
It can't be their time and material. We do not do time and materials. Everything is a flat rate. Very, very simple. $119 a user. Everything's concluded. Done.
Well,
So
that's a good.
and they got to be used to being supported.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing about it because we are insane about our support and everything. No cybersecurity thing is left undone. So patching happens,
Mhm.
scans happen, threats are thwarted, and you are communicated with obnoxiously. So I hope that answered your question. We're going to see gentrification of all businesses, including yours. Yours is going
Yeah.
to be insane.
Yeah,
I
I mean, we're
watch.
we're taking on we're basically trying to build out a whole ecosystem now around it. So, for example, and the podcast is a great way to find people to partner with or technology for us to adopt. We interviewed someone a couple weeks ago where their AI can build software. Like we can basically build internally what we have to rent to use in Frankenstein for our clients. I'm like, no, no, no. Like we can replicate all these features now. We can build our own ecosystem internally, and we can build out AI automations not just for marketing. Because the thing that we talk about with ecosystem is that marketing and sales, for example, have a big overlap in a Venn diagram. So it's like, okay, well, we could do all the best marketing in the world, but if the sales team doesn't have the right tools and enablement for them to close, well, then what's the point? If you're putting all these great leads and they're not getting closed, it doesn't matter. So we're like, okay, we're going to wrap in a sales ecosystem into it, right? Like with certain technology to help enable them and help them close better. And then operations. If your marketing, your sales are doing great, but you're so bloated on operations that your overhead is too high, that your net value is not enough, then again, what's the point, right? So then we have an operational side. We can help, automate workflows that have nothing to do with marketing. We can just
Yeah.
build out these AI agents because we're already used to it that help then. So it's about building that it's helping the body instead of the limb. You know what I mean? And so, but no, you're right. And you guys are kind of doing the same thing where and especially with your offer of saying, hey, if you're trying to retire and get out of here, give us a call. So, anyone listening, which is a lot of B2B tech people, if you're an IT person and you own a company and you're like, forget this, I'm done. give
Well, even
give
these
Kelly a call,
marketing
right?
firms, because we'll talk, or you and I are in talks
Yeah,
to do some things. And
yeah, absolutely.
don't just remember that here's what there used to be back in the 80s where we our word meant something. It really did. And our handshake meant something. And there was honesty and integrity. That and with me, you're gonna get that. With you, you get that. And I'm not looking to rape anybody. I'm not looking to take advantage of anybody. I'm offering safe haven because
Mhm.
I grew up so poor. And so I'm doing all this. The reason why I'm supposed to be here is to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Everything we make out of Harder Than Life, the brand, we donate to charity, 3 different charities. And so I'm not here trying to buy a jet. I I I could retire right now and I'm good. We have enough reoccurring revenue. We're good. I just want to help more people. I am here. When you get successful, most people want to be more successful, but I want to be significant. I want people to go, that dude helped so many people and made an impact on the world.
Yeah.
And I used to be back in the days when I was younger. I used to party with me, and I'd say, "You got Siegeled." And now I want to say, when you get Siegeled, now we helped you and we protected you from your business standpoint, from your mindset standpoint, and from your family standpoint. Because I got a newsflash: we're all gonna die. And why not do this fun and actually living? That's the one thing that we didn't talk about. We're going to live a long time with AI because
Yeah.
no longer are you going to be to a doctor's mind in his experience. He's going to go type your symptoms into the EMR, and it's going to scan the entire universe and go, "We got it. Here it is."
Yeah.
So 100 years old, it's coming for most
Yeah.
people. For us, probably 120, especially me that keeps good.
Yeah, you keep looking like that, you're gonna outlive us all, Kelly. Kelly, where can people find you, and where can they find the company if they're interested in checking it out?
Well, the easiest place to go is to trustntm.com or harderthanlife.com. Either one, they link to each other. Harder Than Life is the brand for charity, with my podcast, my books. We do that for fun. As you said, we get to meet some amazing people like you. And then trustntm.com is who pays the bills and keeps me on my toes. And we're going to keep adding things and adding things and adding things to become more valuable and hopefully pick up a couple different companies across the country so I can go have some more challenges and have fun in this world. Because if you're not facing challenges and difficult times and being you're not harder than life, that means you're not doing anything. And as it gets harder, it means you're getting closer to the next level you. So be excited when things get hard. That's an opportunity to level up.
Wise words. I appreciate it. Listen, for everyone else listening to the podcast, thank you again for listening to another episode of the Future of Biz Tech. And hey, if you liked what I said or a lot of what Kelly said, because I mean, he's like a motivational speaker here, which I didn't think I would get. I got motivational speaker and IT guy at the same time. That's amazing. But if you liked anything either of us said, give it a 5-star rating, share it with your friends so that other tech nerds like you and me can find cool podcasts like this one. Kelly, thanks so much again for being on the show, and I look forward to speaking to you after.
Thanks for having me.